So here's your overview of Unit 10 really quick, since we kind of ended with that. So this looks backwards, but whatever. So Unit 10, the overview is the definitions in the neurology section are very first. Glasgow Coma Scale second. That's the second major topic. Cerebral edema, the different types of cerebral edema and how they affect the body.
Okay.
Intracranial pressure. And then head injuries, the different kinds of head injuries you can get. Alzheimer's, cerebral vascular accidents. So like brain hemorrhages and embolisms and stuff is all in there. And then spinal cord injuries and then meningitis. Those are like the major topics. Hello.
Hey.
Sakia's here.
Hi.
Hi.
So how are you doing?
Okay. How are you?
Good. So the way I've been doing today's kind of review is let me share this with all you guys so you can see it. Addison's already been through this, so Addison, I'm sorry. But it'll be good review again for you, I think. Okay. So can you guys see endocrine system, Unit 9, big word system review? Can you see it on your screen?
Yep.
Okay, so basically what we're doing, Zakia, is we're just going through system by system, and instead of digging down to all the receptors and everything that's going on, we're just going to hit the major big stuff, and that's it, okay?
Okay.
So the hypothalamus, what does the hypothalamus do?
It's a gland.
Yeah.
It's regulate the let me see. It's regulate the hormones between the Hi.
Sorry, I've got Hala on the other line. Sorry. Hey, can you hear each other? Hey, Zakia, talk. Zakia, where are you at? Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Hala, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, just sorry. I got you on this one, but not on my computer. So basically, we're going to do a review. The stuff that you and I reviewed in the library, we're just going to do it again.
Okay.
Is that cool? And then Zakia's kind of going through it.
Yes, because I couldn't come. I had a statistic test.
The hypothalamus is what? What is the hypothalamus? If you could explain the hypothalamus in one phrase, what would you say?
It's just regulate hormones between the body and the pituitary.
Yeah, it's the control center of everything else, right? It's where all the commands start.
Okay.
So Addison, what is the pituitary? If you could explain it in one statement, what would you say?
The pituitary is the distribution center.
The distribution center, right? So once the commands come into the hypothalamus, it sends those commands down to the pituitary and says, distribute the stuff that I need you to distribute to get the action to happen at those target organs or those target systems. Okay? So SI, ADH, and DI. Who can tell me? So Hala, Hala's on my phone, you guys. She's not on the computer. She's having some tech issues, so she's on my phone, okay?
Okay.
If I call her out and you can't hear her, just kind of follow along, okay? And we'll get through this. This should be relatively quick tonight, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so SAIDH. Who can tell me, any one of you, who can tell me what SAIDH is?
I know that.
You're looking at your notes.
I'm not.
It means right?
Is it elevated at ADH or is it depressed ADH?
Elevated.
It's elevated. So if I have elevated ADH, then what's going to be happening?
It's going to depress the blood pressure, right?
Yeah. So if I've elevated ADH, because ADH normally holds on to sodium in the blood and drives blood pressure up. So if I have an abnormal elevation of ADH in my blood system, I'm going to have an elevated chronic bad response in regards to blood pressure and fluid. So if I have ADH pulling sodium back into the blood system, in addition to increased blood pressure, what's going to be happening to the fluid? Am I going to be in a dehydrated state or am I going to be in a fluid overload state?
Overload.
You're going to be in a fluid overload state, okay? So if that's one side of the system and that's elevated ADH, then DI, or diabetic diabetes insipidus, is the opposite. It's the absence, or the ADH isn't functioning correctly. So Zakia, if I have a decreased ADH, so now my body's not holding on to sodium, then what's happening? If the body's not holding on to sodium, where's it going?
So we'll have dehydration. We're just losing water and sodium, right?
Yeah, so sodium and water levels are being excreted through urine, or my really, really horrible, not good way of saying is we pee it out. We piss it out, right? So if we're peeing it out, we're going to be in a dehydrated state, and we're going to also see like a decreased blood pressure because our fluid level is going to be low. Okay?
Okay.
So that's SAIDH, and that's DI, diabetes insipidus. Okay, so instead of digging into like what the pituitary's doing and everything, we just hit the two major big diseases. Okay, the notes talk about. So Addison, or let's go to Hala. So thyroid. What is the major thing the thyroid does? Remember that one word we talked about in our study session?
It's control our metabolism.
Yeah, it's a metabolism controller, correct? And that's through T3, T4. But we're not so much worried about T3, T4 right now. We're more worried about hyperthyroidism and hypothyroidism. So the big word, or the actual name of the disease of hyperthyroidism, is what?
Your metabolism is hyperactive.
Yeah, remember we had there's a name of a person that has that disease. Hyperthyroidism is the white guy, and hypothyroid is the Japanese dude. Okay? So hyperthyroidism by name. So Addison, what's hyperthyroidism by name?
Did you say my name?
Yeah.
Isn't that Graves? Graves, right?
What was that?
Hyper is Graves.
Yeah, it's Graves' disease, right? So I'm forgetting everybody's name. Zakia, so what is the name? What's the Japanese name for hypothyroidism?
Hashimoto's.
Hashimoto's, right? And then the elevated hyperthyroid, after hyperthyroidism is not compensated by the body anymore, we can go into what's called thyroid storm. Okay. But hypothyroidism, if it becomes continually hypo and it goes further and further down, we go into what's called myoxedema. And edema is the key word there. So what does edema mean? What's happening in that disease process?
Fluid retention.
Yeah, we have massive fluid retention, and we're going to have peripheral edema. We're going to have fluid throughout the body being stored or maintained in the interstitial spaces. Okay. And that's an elevated or non-compensated response to hyperthyroidism, or it's when Hashimoto's crosses the line between I'm compensating when I have this disease, and now I'm not compensating anymore. Now I've got myoxedema or myoxedema. Okay.
So in the two cases, we will have edema.
What was that?
And thyroid storm and with the mixed edema, both will have edema. So in hyper and hypo.
Well, let's talk about it. So let's take a step back from the actual crazy disease responses of thyroid storm and myoxedema. Let's talk about just hyperthyroidism. So if I have an elevated metabolism, how is that going to look in my body? What's going to happen to me if I have an elevated or hyperthyroid response?
You'll be restless, skinny look. They'll have a very active.
Yeah, you're going to have an elevated blood pressure, elevated respirations. You're going to have an increased call for energy to keep those systems going at an elevated level, and so we're going to find that we're going to have a loss in body weight.
Okay, loss in body weight. Yeah.
If they continue to progress past what our body can compensate, then we'll go into thyroid storm, which is going to probably lead to respiratory or cardiac arrest. Our blood pressure and heart rate have been elevated for so long in hyperthyroidism that it's going to get to thyroid storm and our heart is going to just stop. Okay. So Hashimoto's then. So Addison, can you explain Hashimoto's to us then?
So that would be hypothyroidism.
Yep. And what's going to how is that going to look in somebody who has it?
Everything's going to be deep. So low temperature, low metabolism, like low heart rate, and right?
So we'll have
Yeah, you're right. Are they going to be gaining weight or losing weight?
gaining weight.
Yeah, they're gaining weight because their body's not going to be calling for energy because all the rest of the systems are depressed. So they're going to just not call for energy, and so the body's going to store that as fat. Okay, and then obviously with the decreased blood pressure and heart rate, the blood's just not moving as quickly, and so because of that, it has more time at the intercellular and capillary beds to just permeate out, and it permeates into the other fluids, and so fluid retention in the interstitial space, and that's why we can progress to myoxedema.
Okay.
Okay, are we good? Can we move on?
Yep. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're back up. So parathyroid. When I say parathyroid, what is like the one term that explains parathyroid? What's going on with that?
It's the calcium control of the body.
Yeah, it's calcium control. So Addison, if I have hyperthyroidism, and am I thinking about hyperparathyroidism, excuse me, or am I thinking about unit 2 electrolytes right now?
Unit 2 electrolytes.
So for you, Zakia, so as soon as you hear parathyroid and you hear its calcium control, you can now just start thinking about unit 2 electrolyte levels, because didn't we talk about calcium, hyper and hypocalcium levels in unit 2 electrolytes?
Yes.
So we can just stop thinking about unit 9 now, and we can zero in on electrolyte levels. So Addison, so if we have elevated levels of calcium and hyperparathyroidism, how's that going to look in someone's body? How's that going to present?
If you have that would be weakness. They would be like weak muscles, basically.
Yeah, they're going to have muscle weakness. Are they going to be constipated, or are they going to be are they going to have diarrhea?
Wouldn't that be constipated? No.
Yeah, because they're getting a lot of agitation in their stomach and in their intestines, and it's slowing stuff down.
Okay.
Okay. So what about hypoparathyroidism then? So this is for you, Hala. What about hypoparathyroidism? Low calcium.
Yeah, so it's a low calcium. That means the muscle is giving. Hold on.
So can muscles?
Listen.
Yeah, go ahead.
So hyper muscle was giving. Oh, bone was breaking down.
Yep.
And getting rid of all the calcium.
Yep.
And we were getting that kidney stone.
So yeah, so because there's excess calcium in the system, and the muscles are trying to give it back to the bones can't take it up, and it's going. And then what's the bones? The bones like, I can't take calcium right now. I can't process it fast enough. So where does it go next?
It's going to go down the kidney. That's going to go to the kidney to pee it out.
Yeah.
And sometimes some of those calcium end up in the kidney, and you're going to get the kidney stone.
There you go.
But with the hypoparathyroidism, it's the opposite the thing. So at this time, bone is giving to the muscle, right?
So the muscles are calling for calcium. There's elevated calcium in the system. Hypo, the muscles, there's low calcium in the system, and so the muscles can't get it. It's not being asked for from the bones.
So we will have Shabasky.
Hypo is not breaking down bone.
Oh, so muscle is giving it to the bone, right?
Yeah, muscle. Well, there's just no calcium in the system for the muscles to call for it, right? The signals have been crossed, and so calcium isn't being called for, whether the muscles need it or not. So if there's a reduced level of calcium in the system, what's happening at the muscle level? What happens to the muscles? If there's no calcium in the system, what are the
muscles are going to go through tetany?
Yep, the muscles contract and they stay contracted, which is called tetany.
Shabasky or tetany.
Yep, tetany. Okay. And then because there's no calcium in the system, then there's no effect on the bones at all. Okay. The bones aren't being asked to do anything because there's no calcium out there. Okay, we good?
Yes, but because in parathyroidism there's too much secrete of thyroid hormones causes the bone breakdown. But in hypo, there is not enough hormone to break down anything.
Yes.
Therefore, muscle is suffering from that calcium.
Yes, that's correct. Okay, we good?
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Adrenal medulla. Okay, this one's a little bit weird. So adrenal glands. Okay, number 5, adrenal glands. So there's 2 sides to this one. What are the 2 sides? Can anybody tell me one of the sides?
Say that again, sir.
Anybody? Can anybody tell me the 2 sides to the adrenal system?
Medulla and cortex.
The medulla and the cortex.
Thank
are
you,
the 2
yeah.
sides, right? Okay, so when I say adrenal medulla, and I got an error in my slide, sorry. Adrenal medulla is associated with adrenergic or cholinergic?
Medulla is adrenergic.
Adrenergic. Okay, that's the contraction, fight or flight response. Or what's another way to say adrenergic, Addison?
The fight or flight, and then
Yep.
it would be the sympathetic.
Sympathetic.
No.
Yep. So
Yeah.
Zakia, when we
Yes.
say adrenal medulla, we also are also saying adrenergic system, sympathetic nervous system, or we're saying fight or flight response. All 4 of those are basically interchangeable in testing and when we're talking about this.
Okay.
Okay, so when you hear those 4 statements, they all mean the same thing. So adrenal cortex, what would be associated to the adrenal torque? What would be the other 3 phrases that I could use that were synonymous with adrenal cortex in regards to what that side does?
Yeah, mom. Ah.
So it's cholinergic is one of them. What are the other 2 with the adrenal cortex
No,
that
it's
go
okay,
with it?
mom. Dunya مليانة. Sorry.
No, you're okay. What are there 2?
Yeah,
So
لسه
Adam,
كمان
you
ساعة
know
كده. Okay.
Addison,
Yeah, bye.
still there?
I'm here.
Sorry,
When
guys.
I say cholinergic and I say adrenal cortex, what is one more way I can say that I haven't already used?
Cholinergic.
That would be rest and digest, and
So
then
rest and digest is the other way. And so if adrenergic is sympathetic, then Zakia, what does cholinergic have to be?
Okay, so you said, oh, that would be parasympathetic.
There you go. So if I say cholinergic, I also mean cortex, I also mean parasympathetic, and I also mean rest and digest.
Okay.
Are we good?
Yep.
Okay, so those are all synonymous with each other. Now, adrenal medulla or adrenergic system, what are the receptors on that side called? What are those receptors?
Those are called the. Let me think.
So A,
Oh,
B.
A1. Right? Is that what you're saying?
A1.
A1, A2, B1, B2.
Okay, and I'm not going to go into what they do because we kind of crossed that bridge. Okay, so what are the actual transmitters or hormones on that side? What are those called? The 3
Epinephrine.
dwarfs. Keep going. Who said it?
And dopamine. Okay.
Out loud,
Can you hear
Addison.
me? Okay, epinephrine, norepinephrine, and dopamine.
And dopamine, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so those are the 3 on that side, and those are also called as a class. Those classes of hormones are called what? Does anybody know? Hall, I know you know because we just went over them.
Catecholamines.
Stress hormone.
Those aren't stress hormones. Those are called catecholamines. Okay? Those are catecholamines. On the adrenergic side, the hormones are called catecholamines, and they're the 3 dwarves, epi, norepi, and dopey. Okay, that's how I remember that.
and dopey. Okay.
Dopey, because we can never remember that guy. He's the straggler. So if you say 3 dwarves, norepi, epi, we remember. We always remember those. Those ones are easy. It's dopey that we forget. And that's why we use the 3 dwarves. He's the dumb one at the end. Dopey.
Dopey. Okay. Got it.
We won't forget him now. We won't forget Dopey. He's there. Okay. Now, the disease process that we talk about in the adrenergic side is pheochromocytoma. Can anybody tell me anything about that? What's going on with that?
That is it's like a tumor.
It's a tumor on the. It's a tumor
Medulla.
on the adrenal medulla, and it causes an elevated or a decreased level of epi, norepi, and dopey. What does it cause?
Which your
Elevated.
body doesn't digest.
Yeah,
so it won't be able to do any fight or flight.
Okay, so pheochromocytoma is an elevated epinephrine, norepinephrine, and dopamine.
Oh, sorry.
It's elevated.
Opposite. So
Yep.
You freak your body out from the stress.
Yep, it's elevated. So moving along, so cholinergic. So who can tell me the three hormones on the cholinergic side and how they're special? They're called corticosteroids. So someone tell me one. So Hala, tell me one. So tell me one. Hala's going to give us one.
Okay, so we have cortisol.
So cortisol is glucose, mineral, or sex.
It's a glucocorticoid.
So cortisol is the glucocorticoid, and it is sugar-based.
Sugar.
Okay.
Sugar.
So Addison.
And we have.
So I'm gonna have Addison give us the next one. Addison, can you give us mineral corticoid? Which one is that one?
That would be this.
It's your favorite one from urinary. Raz. What's the end state of Raz?
Aldosterone? No.
Aldosterone. So aldosterone is our mineral or our salt-based corticosteroid in the cholinergic system. And then Zakia,
Yes.
the last one we haven't talked about, which one is it?
And for me, this is my review. I don't know.
Okay, so we had sugar, salt, sex.
Yeah.
We covered sugar, we covered salt, and now we've got sex, which is they're called androgens. So the three kinds of hormones on the cholinergic side of the adrenal gland system are cortisol, aldosterone, and androgens, which are our sex hormones.
Aldosterone is for the salt?
Yep, aldosterone is a salt. Because remember, what does aldosterone do?
Let me see.
Take a deep breath and think about urinary. What does ADH do? What does ADH do?
It's a constructive, like it's constructing or retention for water and sodium.
There you go. So aldosterone tells the kidneys to do what?
Oh, is that cycle the kidney to retain retain the sodium actually.
Yep, it tells the kidneys to hold on to sodium, and so aldosterone is our sodium-based corticosteroid.
Okay.
And that's easy because it tells the body to hold on to sodium.
Okay, so it's more specific.
There you go. You got it. Are you with us now? You got it now?
Yep.
Okay, you got this. This is not hard. 90% of this is review. Okay, it's a review of things we've already learned. It's just drawing the pieces back together from these different places that we've been. Okay, you can do this.
Yep.
Okay, we good? So that's the three hormones. Who can name the two receptors in the cholinergic side?
I can go for it.
Okay, Hala's got some. So Hala, give us some.
So it's our muscarinic and nicotinic.
Okay, so Addison, do you know the difference between the nicotinic and the muscarinic receptors in the cholinergic side?
Yeah.
Can you tell us what they do?
Muscarinic has to do with the, and then nicotinic has to do with the muscles.
Okay, so do nicotinic because we didn't hear you all the way. It cut out.
Nicotinic has to do with the muscles.
Okay, and then muscarinic does what again?
It has to do with the GI.
Okay, so muscarinic turns the GI on, and nicotinic relaxes the muscles. Those are the two receptors in the cholinergic side. Okay, now we've covered all that. So let's talk about the two major diseases that we have on the cholinergic side, Addison's and Cushing's.
The cash register is closing in 5 minutes. The library closes at midday.
You're going to get kicked out, Zakia.
No.
We'll hustle to get through this, okay? So Addison
it's still open until noon. It's noon, midnight, but it's the downstairs is like closing.
It's community college. They suck.
Yeah, so we're good.
Addison's is what? Is Addison's an elevated level of hormones on the cholinergic side, or is it depressed?
Depressed.
It's depressed. So if I have depressed action it's going to depress all of the cholinergic responses, okay? It's going to depress them. So I'm going to have low sodium. I'm going to have low sugar. I'm going to have low sex hormones. So I'm not going to want to have sex. Girls aren't going to grow boobs. Guys aren't going to have their voice lowered and get muscles and pubic hair. Girls aren't either. And I'm going to have low sodium, which means I'm going to have low blood pressure. I'm going to have low glucose. I'm going to be tired and pissed off. Okay, that's Addison's. So if Addison's is depressed, then what's Cushing's?
I think it's increase.
Yeah, it's elevated. It's elevated levels of cholinergic hormones. So I'm gonna have elevated cortisol, elevated aldosterone, and elevated sex hormones. So in Cushing's, starting with sex hormones, I'm gonna have elevated response. I'm gonna have all kinds of pubic hair. I'm gonna have big boobs. If I'm a girl, I'm gonna start to develop pubic responses in younger kids that should normally be getting them. Okay, I'm gonna have acne. I'm gonna have nasty skin. Okay. If I have elevated levels of sodium, I'm going to have a high blood pressure. I'm retaining fluid, and I'm going to have high blood pressure. If I have elevated glucose levels, I'm going to be in a hyperglycemic condition, and I'm going to have all the signs and symptoms of hyperglycemia. Okay, so we beat that to death?
No, you
Yeah.
haven't. You didn't say about the potassium and sodium. If sodium goes up, potassium goes down.
Okay, so Hala's going to hold me to task. So if sodium and potassium are two linked electrolytes, how are they linked, Addison? How are sodium and potassium linked? I couldn't hear you. It keeps cutting out every other word. So when potassium goes up, what happens to sodium?
It goes down.
Okay. And when sodium goes up, what happens to potassium? Zakia, if sodium goes up, what happens to potassium?
Going down.
It goes down. It's exactly opposite. That is the only thing weird about these you have to remember.
Yeah.
Okay? Addison's is depressed hormones, and Cushing's is elevated, and potassium goes in the exact opposite direction of the sodium from that disease process.
Cushing's, all right?
Yes.
Okay. Stress pathway?
Okay, the stress pathway. So stress pathway is the stress pathway. If you go to page 8 in your notes, there's a yellow line in the middle of the page, and it's called the stress pathway. So it talks about how the body receives stress signals and how it moves down through the system using the adrenal system to manage stress.
Okay, page 1, you said?
On page number 8. There's
Okay,
a yellow line, a yellow box, like kind of a line right in the middle of the page, and it says stress and has arrows moving down a pathway.
Okay.
So stress, so it goes hypothalamus to anterior pituitary, and then adrenal corticotropic hormones are released. That goes to the adrenal cortex, and then the adrenal cortex releases cortisol, which is our glucocorticosteroids in response to stress. That's the stress pathway.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and we talked about Addison's and Cushing's. So pancreas, alpha and beta cells. What do the alpha cells secrete?
Insulin.
Alpha cells do not secrete insulin. What do they secrete? The other thing. Glucagon.
Glucagon. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, then beta cells secrete what?
Insulin.
There you go. You got it, Sakia. Excellent. Okay. What is the normal range of blood glucose for diabetes mellitus? In order to not be in diabetes, what normal range do we need to be in?
70 to 120?
70 to 130 in the notes.
130. Okay.
Yep. You guys are good? Okay, moving along to the next page. Diabetes mellitus continued. Type 1 signs and symptoms. What is type 1 diabetes?
Hey, I gotta go, but I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, see you tomorrow.
See ya.
So yeah, type 1 diabetes is early onset, and it's due to the destruction of the pancreatic beta cells. There's no insulin in the system to be pulled. Okay, that's type 1. Type 2 is what?
Insulin not functioning.
Yeah, insulin's being secreted by the pancreas, but it's the cells in the body that are resistant to it. They don't want to take it up and bring glucose into their cells.
So is that will be a secondary
That's type 2.
type? Okay, type 2.
So type 1 is at the producer level. Insulin's not being secreted because the cells are being destroyed. Type 2, insulin's being released by the pancreas. It's an appropriate response. Insulin levels go up, but the muscle, gastric cells, neurologic cells in the body are resistant to it, and so they reject it. They will not accept it. That's at the consumer level. The consumer isn't taking the product.
Okay.
Okay. Then we move into something called chronic complications of diabetes. Okay. Microvascular is micro. Okay. That's a new word. So microvascular, it's more common in type 1 diabetes. And basically all it means, it has to do with regards to the blood vessels and what happens to them during diabetes. Okay. The vessels in the eyes and in the peripheral and the renal and peripheral system get retracted. They lose their ability to let nutrients and oxygen pass over them, and so we get decreased vision, we get decreased kidney function, and we get wounds that won't heal and micro diabetic vascular changes.
So what do you call that word again?
It's called micro vascular changes, and it's a chronic diabetic response. Okay, on the micro side, it's more common in type 2 diabetes, and this has to do more with metabolism. So elevated levels of cholesterol in the body. Okay, the person is more susceptible to vascular changes like arterial and arteriosclerosis. Okay, they're going to have an elevated blood pressure. Okay, the GI system's going to be impaired. They're going to want to be constipated. Those are macro changes due to chronic diabetes.
Okay.
Okay. DKA, HHS, they are both hyperglycemia. There's a little bit of a difference between them. What's the difference? So Hala, what's going on with DKA?
Yeah, it's also known as ketoacidosis.
Yep.
Diabetic ketoacidosis. So the ketone bodies are finding their way into urine, and so the H plus, the hydrogen ions, are elevated in the body. There are two ways to compensate: by either respirating, exhaling all the CO2 level to decrease those hydrogen ions, or they can do it intravenously, and they give IV insulin. But before they do that, they don't want to cause a huge hypoglycemia, so they put the patient first on DW5. Means they're gonna not only increasing their blood sugar at the same time try to decrease it. So even patient is slightly high on blood sugar, it's better to be hyperglycemia than hypoglycemia, because you don't want to put your patient in coma following death.
So that's a heck of an explanation. You got that knocked out. So basically, for you, for Zakia, so DKA and HHS, the big thing is ketone bodies are present.
Yes.
So in DKA, ketones are present. In HHS, ketones are not present, and then how it presents, okay? So ketone bodies are because of how the body's digesting. It's a digestion response, okay? It's going into anaerobic respiration because of elevated blood glucose levels, and it's creating ketone bodies at the cellular level in response to not being able to respirate correctly.
Okay.
Okay, where HHS, it's not as far along, basically. Okay, it's not as an aggressive response, and so you're not getting the ketone body formation in HHS.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the biggest difference.
Okay.
That's the major difference between the two of them. And there's a table in the book that does a really, really great job. It's on page number 12 that goes through the differences and similarities between HHS and DKA.
Yeah, it's in
That's on
page
page 12.
13.
Just review the table, and that's you can pull that together really easily.
I'm looking at it. Yeah, because ketones is a byproduct from breaking down fats and protein, right?
Yep. Yeah, and that's because the body's not respirating appropriately, and glucose isn't able to move in as an energy source to the cells. So the body starts looking for something else. So it starts looking for proteins and fats because those are available. They're next to those cells. It starts drawing on those, but those don't burn up as good. They're not as easy an energy source, and so ketone bodies are created because of it.
Okay, so it's as she explained, it's just come like through respiration or in urine, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
So the breakdown of fats and lipids are there. Ketones are created. Those secrete into the blood, which end up in the urine, and we pee them out because there's no other place for them to go. They go downstream.
Okay.
Okay. HA plus, it's hyperglycemia, but we're still in a state where the body is still getting glucose into the cells to be able to burn those for energy, and so it's not recruiting proteins and lipids yet.
Okay.
It's not as severe. DKA is definitely a more severe condition than HHS.
Okay.
Okay, so let's move on. Hyperglycemia in the morning. There are two syndromes here, Somogys and Dawn. And I'm going to just dip down and dirty. Somogys is where people's blood glucose levels drop while they're asleep. For whatever reason, their glucose level will drop down, get really low, and then it'll start to rise. And then by morning, it just keeps going up. Dawn syndrome or dawn phenomenon is when they're sleeping, it does not change. It'll stay at a normal level. And then in the morning, when they wake up and they start getting active, then their blood glucose levels go up. Somogys is more dangerous as a caregiver because if we give them insulin when they sleep, they will stop breathing and die. They'll go into hypoglycemic shock and coma and die. Okay.
That's good.
The five risk factors for metabolic syndrome, basically the American diet and the American exercise program are two of the big ones. Okay. Large waist size for men is 40 inches or larger, and for women it's 35 inches or larger. Cholesterol or heavy or high nasty cholesterol is 150 or higher. Good cholesterol or L like L triglyceride. Yeah, HDL and LDL. LDL is low. It's under 40 for men and under 50 for women. High blood pressure of over 135 over 85, or it's controlled with medicine. That is still a risk factor. And then blood sugar levels, your fasting blood glucose levels are higher than 100. Those are your 5 risk factors for metabolic disorder or metabolic syndrome.
Okay.
Okay, that's our review for that. That's review. Okay, listen, we're going to do a quick review of Unit 10. Paula, I'm way more prepared this time. I wrote it down on a whiteboard, and I'll show it to you, and we'll walk through it. So for tomorrow's lecture, this is looking ahead. So if you haven't printed off the notes for tomorrow, if you have class tomorrow with me on Tuesday, this is your invitation to print. What was that?
Are you morning or afternoon?
Afternoon.
Okay, so I'm coming to the class because I'd like to listen to the lecture twice. Once on Tuesday afternoon and once on Thursday afternoon.
Okay, so here it is. Hala, can you see me?
Yeah.
Can you see me, Zakia?
No. Wait. Okay. Yes.
Got me now? Okay, here we go. So I'm going to walk through these. If you can see my whiteboard, great. If you can't, that's okay. If you want to write these down, you can. They're basically the major bullet points or the major topics for tomorrow's lecture, Unit 10. Okay, and here they are. Okay, there are definitions for neurologic dysfunction and neurologic conditions is the very first part. Okay, Glasgow Coma Scale and how the Glasgow Coma Scale is the second major topic. What's that?
I used to hate that GC.
Oh, Glasgow coma is kind of a pain in the ass. Sorry. Okay, Glasgow coma is next. Cerebral edema or fluid or blood on the brain is next. They're going to go through a couple of different conditions in the notes about that. Then intracranial pressure, so that how that happens, and those are closely related, cerebral edema and ICP. Okay, head injuries, just trauma, like getting hit to the head, what that means and how that happens. Okay, Alzheimer's, and what's going on with Alzheimer's. That'll be really exciting. That's going to be a real page turner. I'm excited for Alzheimer's. Okay.
I know. You're very close to come with the rest of the class.
Cerebral vascular accidents. So cerebral vascular accidents are next. Spinal cord injuries, so damage to the spinal cord outside of the brain. And then finally, meningitis. What's on meningitis on the brain and what's going on with meningitis? That's major for Unit 10.
Okay, you're the man. Thank you so much.
Okay. See you tomorrow, Hala.
Okay, take care. Thanks again for everything.
No problem. You have a nice evening. Okay, bye. So I've just got you now, Zakia. Do you have any questions? It's just me and you now.
Okay. No, I'm just like going over that video that she said that she will get 2 questions from.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, so I'm just listening to that, and then I will go over. I had a statistic class test.
Oh, gee.
Today, so I couldn't do anything for the past 2 days. So what you did, it's just a review. I need to go over all this like an outline again.
Okay, so yeah, so if you go to the Google Slides, the Google Drive, I've updated everything we've done so far. So the first 2 pages are the reviews thing we just did, right? Where we just wham bam, Graves' disease, Hashimoto's, Addison's, because we haven't really been talking about that in study group. We've been talking about the receptors and gotten detailed. Then today I came back and said, okay, you should generally know what's going on. And now here are the disease processes with the crazy names, because we hadn't gone over that. I wanted to make sure, because I want you to know that if you hear Graves' disease, that's hyperthyroid, right? That's hyperthyroid disease. And then you know what that means, because I don't want to get caught with my pants down tomorrow where they ask about Hashimoto's and I'm like, Hashi what?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
and I can associate that, and I know, okay, Hashimoto's is associated with myoexedema. So I can at least guess the right answer. If I don't know it, I can at least guess it.
Yes, yeah, true.
Okay, so that's the big association for those. And then yeah, just like it said, the 2 big systems, the 2 largest systems in the whole section is adrenal and pancreas. And pancreas, we spent a whole unit talking about in GI.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna hang your goat on something to like practice, go through the adrenal system, those receptors and those neurotransmitters, the hormones, and then diabetes. Pancreas, go right to diabetes and what the diabetes stuff is. Because those are the 2 sectors we really haven't spent a lot of time on other areas.
So my plan will be like listen to the video, that's what I'm listening to, and then go to the diabetes and then the receptors.
And then the adrenal section again.
Adrenal section.
And if you have the time, the best review piece in the whole freaking notes of the whole notes is to go to the very beginning of the lecture. There's a video, module 9 video lecture. It says watch the narrator lecture. So go to Canvas for Unit 9 and find that.
Yeah. That's the one that I'm talking about. That's the one I'm listening to.
Questions like midway through.
Yeah.
Yep, that's awesome. That is like literally, if I could say anything, that would be the best way to review.
Okay, great then. Yeah, that's what I would like to start with. It's like, oh, I will not go to the outline. I need to listen to the video. And then, that
video goes through and it stops and asks questions midway through and makes sure you understand it, right?
Yes,
if you answer wrong, they'll tell you, you're under 80%, watch it again.
Yep.
Until you get it. And then that's kind of a pain in the butt. But at the end of the day, you really know it. Like, it forces you to kind of like, okay, I wasn't paying attention and I didn't get it. And
okay. And then and the risk factors that we need to go over, like for the last one that we said, the metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome.
So the risk factors are big stomach, high blood pressure. I gotta look out. There's like 5 of them. High blood pressure. HDL. So your bad cholesterol, good cholesterol, too high, too low. That's 4 of them. And the last one was son of a gun. Oh, your blood sugar's too high. Your fasting blood sugar is too high. So if you do them in
fasting blood sugar.
So waist size, bad cholesterol, good cholesterol, blood pressure, and then glucose levels. That's the 5. Yes. And we all know the damn numbers. I mean, like, you could bang your head against the wall trying to memorize all the numbers. You know what a high blood pressure looks like.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
You
you
don't.
have to do that.
I really missed the study group. And
Okay,
Sunday, I plan
you're
to.
right. So
Yeah.
we're here
Okay.
for you again. You had other, yeah, I got it. You had other classes. Sometimes that happens, right?
Yeah. 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 The
So just
statistic
stay with
class is
it.
like
We're
taking.
gonna take a break. We're gonna meet tomorrow at 11:30 in the first
Yeah.
floor of the garden level. If you can come, great. We're gonna do another hour of review of chapter 9 of unit 9.
Okay. I will put, like, if you will do it like this too, so I will put that in my ear while I'm working. So then
Yeah,
I will hear.
I'm gonna blog it. I'm gonna blog it.
Yeah, because I can't talk and be participating. It's like working on
Where
that
is
laptop thing.
what do you have going on tomorrow morning at 11:30? Are you working?
Yeah, I work at school. So my work is like 7:45.
Class.
Was that?
When do you take this class?
Why?
No,
Oh, wait.
what day? Are you a Thursday lecture or a Tuesday lecture?
No, Tuesdays. And, like, my name is on Thursday, but I'm attending with the Tuesday lecture.
Okay.
That's how I began. Like, I began. So I'm attending every Tuesday at 1.
Okay, so you're in our lecture, so you work right until class starts.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll blog
Yes.
it then. I'll blog it from the garden level. Just get on.
Yeah. Yeah. Then I will, like, open that on my phone. So I will be in the campus at 12:30. Like,
Okay.
dot. 12:30 dot, I will be there.
Just come to class. Just come to the classroom at 12:30, and if we're in there, I'll step out or we'll review in the classroom.
Okay, great then.
We'll just review until we start, and then that's it. And we'll give you the absolute best chance to be successful. You can do this. You know this stuff.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
know, take a deep breath. You're going to be fine.
Are you in nursing school yet?
Damn.
Are you in nursing school yet?
No, I'm still waiting to hear back from him.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you get in?
No. I'm being freaking out to, like, to do the applications. Like, I'm procrastinating about it, but I will do it.
What? You're procrastinating doing that?
Yes.
You got all the prereqs done. You're doing this. You're going to go to nursing school, but you're kind of like,
Yeah, I done everything. I just have this class and statistic class that I need to finish.
So when you finish these 2 classes, couldn't you like apply to the University of Utah?
Yeah.
So is that where you want to go, or are you going to go to the community college? Where do you want to go?
I have Westminster, but even though I don't recommend it, but at the U, I don't know about the SLIC program, but the SLIC program requires other stuff too to apply. But
yeah,
but
no,
the U,
I want to go to Westminster when I'm honest about it.
yeah.
If I get to college, I'm going to go there, but I really want to go to Westminster. That's really where I'd like to go.
So I applied to Westminster. I've been accepted as not for the nursing school, but for the college.
Oh, you got it.
Yes. So now I need to do another application to be admitted to the nursing program there.
Okay. Well, yeah, good. Do it, man. Westminster's an awesome school.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Even though it's like it's need to balance out other stuff like financially, but yeah, everybody said that it's good school though.
Yeah. Well, I think all the nursing schools are good. I don't think there's one. I mean, at the end of the day, it's if you get your nursing degree and pass your NCLEX, who cares? Like, you know what I mean? Go to Roseman. Go to Eaglegate. You know what I mean? Do whatever you got to do, you know?
I got a friend who graduated from Roseman, actually.
Yeah. It's a good school. It's a good, they have a good program. People graduate there and do good jobs. So.
Okay,
listen, take a deep breath. You're going to be fine. I will blog tomorrow's review before class so you can listen in. I will be the tribe that's there will be in the classroom at 12:30 getting our seats because you know how aggressive it is getting a freaking chair. So we'll be in there a half hour getting chairs, and then it's game on. If you're there and you want to step out and review outside, we'll do it outside. If you want to do it in the classroom and sit in our chairs, we'll do it there. I don't care.
Okay, great.
Going over it, going over it, going over it till you get it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Appreciate it, Chris.
Yeah. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.